Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And it's a beautiful day for the Pirate Broadcast. And hey, we got somebody in from Texas. You know, we reached out, we threw out an all-call bulletin, and Erin showed up. So welcome to the party, Erin. How you doing?
Thanks. It's great to be here. Let's have fun. Let's get this party started.
Yeah, let's get this party started. So we were talking before the show, and I want to, just for those that may not know you yet, all the pirate community, meet Erin. She's an awesome individual that I think is going to light up the show today and share some nuggets of knowledge. And she has recently published a book, and tell us about that. Tell us, yeah, hold it up and make sure we know what it is. Yeah. Elevate your career. So how do we go about doing that, Erin?
Well, it's interesting because we think, well, let's just polish up the resume. Let's throw out a bunch of job searches. Let's just go through that open door. And that's normally what happens, to be honest. You know, we go to college, we get a degree. Hopefully it's something we want to do. We exit college, we need a job. So we go through the open door syndrome, is what I call it, the open door process. One day we wake up and go, what am I doing?
This is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful life.
Right. What am I doing here anyway? I mean, I don't like what I do, or I'm unfulfilled, or I hate the people I work with, or whatever, right? It's usually one of those three. I don't like what I do. I don't like the people I work with, or I'm unfulfilled, or all three of them. And during the last couple of years, people have had an opportunity to kind of sit back with a little bit of time they're able to scrape. Maybe it's, you know, out of not having to commute, or maybe they had a forced pause, which we have some of that. But they sit back and go, I don't really know. I know I don't like what I'm doing, but I really don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people actually have, you know, from work at home, they've actually had to take a pause and say, for some reason, I don't necessarily want to go back.
There's that. So now we have the Great Resignation. Yeah. And that will probably be something to do with my next book, which is around influence, and specifically like how to, particularly in our quote unquote future of work, hashtag future of work, how do you get influence? Because it's a very different world now. You know, we're not going to be in person all the time. The American public has spoken out strongly, still speaking out strongly. I don't want to be forced to go back to in the office when I don't have to. Now, some people are loving, they want to be there, and that's great. There's opportunities for that. Right. However, we're seeing a vast majority of people going, no, you know, I had a little bit of taste, a tiny bit of freedom here. Now you want to take that away from me. No. But really my book focuses around how to actually elevate your career, because here is a thought bomb for you this morning. Wherever you are tuning in from around the world, you drive your credibility, but you do not determine it. Other people do.
That is powerful. And I just want to say globally, we have Elise in from South Africa. So thank you so much for being here. I hope your shoulder's doing well. And another Texan, there, Ronald Earl Wilshire. Smiles, super rock stars. yes, Ronald. He's in over in Houston. And then Michael Baker over from Florida. So Michael Baker, thank you so much for being here. Gabe, another Texan. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. I want to dive into that topic a little deeper. Is we don't you know, we can say what we do, we can share who we are, how we help, but it's not necessarily the people that we tell that to. So there's what you're saying is others have influence over what we end up being and showing up.
At the end of the day, you know, what's interesting is, well, let me back up a little bit. What's interesting is how we perceive ourselves is not necessarily how the world perceives us and who we are. That's driven by our exhibited and demonstrated behaviors, what we do versus how we think we are. So our internal narrative may not be aligned with what's going on, how we demonstrate ourselves, how we show up. And for executives, that's called executive presence. I would argue to say everybody has presence, right? How are you showing up? Whether that's online, whether that's in person, what does that look like for you? And are you showing up in a way that's aligned with and supporting where you want to go with your life and your career? Sometimes
is that a conscious or a
case.
subconscious? Is that a conscious or subconscious effort?
Right. And my book talks about is making the unconscious conscious.
Okay.
And helping, leveraging your support network, leveraging real-time data, like as in feedback, to understand, how do other people see me? Yeah. How am I perceived by the world? And how can I make tiny shifts that make a big difference? Because here's the other thing that's a big myth. I have to reinvent myself. No, you don't have to reinvent yourself. You don't have to be like this. I mean, the Phoenix Rising is very sexy and cool.
Sure.
However, it's also not necessary. It's a lot of energy. And you'd be amazed how small shifts in what you do make a really big difference. Because here's the other thing. Everybody has impact. Everybody. Even the most introverted person, social psychologists say, will impact over 20,000 people in your lifetime. The person who doesn't want to leave the house thought, oh, isolation, great, that kind of thing. Right. Yeah. So just imagine how much impact each one of you tuning in has. You will have so much more impact and influence than you give yourself grace for. And the first step to leveraging that is accepting that you do. Right? Because I'll share with you a true story. As a young professional, I thought I was leadership material. I wasn't. One, I didn't understand I had impact, right? I didn't understand I had influence. So I was irresponsible with it. I just showed up how I felt like showing up, which is, it's good to be authentic, and we need to be authentic within the parameters of the culture we're going into. So you show up all grumpy every day, then don't expect people to think you're a ball of sunshine, because that's probably not going to happen, right? So how are you showing up, and how's that affecting how other people perceive who you are? And I had a rude awakening. It was a performance review time years ago. Fine spring morning, walked in, expecting the usual pat on the back and no real salary increase, right? But I heard, you're great. Basically, everything you do, you're wonderful. You get all the hard projects. You do a great job. However, we have some concerns, and that was not what I wanted to hear.
Wait a second. That's not what I want.
Like, well, what concerns? And I'm like, in shock, the heart beating thing, and I'm like, what's happening? And it turns out I was not so adept at building relationships inside the organization. I did a great job externally. I did a great job managing my projects. I was excellent, and all those things showed up, metrics driven, very focused individual, rah, rah, rah. However, I was way too professional. I was one of those people who believed professional life and personal life shall not mix. I shall leave my personal life at the door, which is a dead lie, by the way. You all drag all that stuff in with you through the door. You do every day because you're a human being.
We're not a different person.
No. So, it was a really important awakening for me. And I'd like to say that I saw the light of day immediately and changed instantly, but that is not how it works. Fortunately, through some intervention, through a great mentor, I did have my eyes opened, and I was like, wow, oh, this is what leadership is. In fact, one of my mentors gave me my very first self-improvement book, like how to be assertive without being abrasive, basically.
Critical conversations.
Yeah. Crucial conversations, and how to do that effectively. And I was like, why don't they didn't teach this in high school. I could have had a much better beginning to my professional career, be a lot further down the road and be in leadership like I wanted to be. But the story has a good ending 9 months later after making small shifts. Remember, I mentioned those small shifts, those tiny habits, just little things like taking a few minutes to say hi to people in the morning and get to know them as a person outside of a position. Small things. I was given the opportunity to move into leadership, and I took it. So that's what kind of starts this book off. And it really talks about it's a process. A lot of people like processes. So I give them a fun story and a fun way to approach not only the process of developing your presence that's authentic to you, but also what's going on up here.
So who is this? Who did you write this book for specifically?
I wrote this book for people who have been in their professional career for a little while. So it resonates more with people who have been not necessarily straight out of college. They've been around a little bit and going, oh, okay, kind of know what's going on, what's not going on. They have a reputation of some sort. And specifically, it's for those people who've done all the right things. You think you've done all the things. You work really hard. You take on the extra projects. Maybe you stay longer than you should. Maybe
we're checking the boxes.
Overachiever. Yeah, you're checking all the boxes. Exactly. You might identify with being a perfectionist or an overachiever, or have very high standards is another way of putting it. All right. And you see you're very professional and you really think that your work should speak for itself. Guess what?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. No. You do. What you do speaks a lot louder than how awesome you are. Because you can be great at what you do, but if you're a jerk, nobody wants to work with you, and you probably don't get elevated into management.
Yeah, it's difficult to motivate people when they don't like you.
Usually, yeah, it is actually.
It's like the word undermine comes into thought. It's like, okay,
sabotage, maybe a little bit,
maybe I don't know. It's like okay, can you just appreciate somebody on your team once in a while? It'd be really simple.
I just want to say, people. Yeah.
I just want to say, Karen is here. Good morning. Greetings from Florida. Hyatt Ives in from Houston.
Hey, Hyatt.
Been too long since I've been here. Great topic, great insight. Yeah, Erin is sharing a little bit about some journeys that she's had. She's written a book about it, just to catch everybody up. Tim, thank you so much for being here. Wendy, also, good morning, Pirates. Welcome, Erin. However, we have some concerns. Congratulations on actualizing the eye-opener and making strides to become the leader you wanted to be.
Thank you, Wendy.
Absolutely, positively. Gabe says, Tim Schoen, good morning. It's great here to Elise. A very good morning, Tim. So this community, Erin, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a very active community. A lot of beautiful people here in the pirate community. Pirate Nation is here to support everyone. And so I want to go back a little bit. And so when you first started your corporate career, did you have like a roadmap in your head that you needed to do one, A, B, C, check those boxes off? And
sure.
And have you checked all those boxes off? And are you where you imagined you would be when you left high school?
No, if you had told me that I was going to be an executive coach and a public speaker when I left high school, I would have told you were crazy. First of all, public speaking wasn't necessarily in my bandwidth at the time. I was not, believe it or not, I was shy.
Yeah. Leadership and shy don't necessarily always go hand in hand.
I just wasn't comfortable. I didn't feel accepted. Right? When I was in school, I didn't feel accepted. I'm very tall. I know you can't tell because I'm sitting down, but 6 foot girl, at that time it stood out in a small town school in the middle of South Central Virginia is where I grew up. So I was a little bit isolated for a long time. And then I performed my very first social experiment. And little did I know at that time, really my focus should have been social psychology when I went into college, but it wasn't. But that's fine. We grow into where we need to be sometimes. And I did. Now I'm very fulfilled and happy. But before my very first social experiment, I decided to dress like all the other kids because I was back in the heavy metal days, with big hair. And that was me, with the leather jacket and the ripped up jeans. And I decided my junior year of high school, I will come in looking like all the preppy kids. So I did. And all of a sudden, everybody was like, "Oh, Erin, would you like to go out to the party? We have this party this weekend." And all of a sudden, I was invited to all these things. I'm like, surely you can't be that shallow. But see, it's how people are perceiving me.
Yeah, people can be that shallow.
Yeah,
you had the right clothes on.
I had the right clothes. I looked right. I mean, nothing is.
No one changed on the inside. You just changed on the outside. The perception changed, right?
Their perception started to change, and they started to actually see beyond the previous, big hair and ripped up jeans and leather jacket at that time in the late 80s. And it was really interesting. And that should have been a wake-up call, but oftentimes we don't. I also loved architecture and design, so that's what I went into for a long time. And then I pivoted into project management. Then I pivoted into continuous improvement. I'm Lean Six Sigma black belt. And I said, what I really like is I really like helping individuals. I mean, finding money for the big bosses is great. However, I really love the individual transformation that's happening in a lot of these projects. And that's why I am a coach today.
What's one transformation that surprised you?
The biggest transformation that surprised me individually, or like for a culture?
Anything. What comes to mind? What's immediately pops in your head?
I'm working with this gentleman, which he will remain anonymous because he didn't give permission for me to share his name. But working with this one gentleman, and he was very angry. By the way, I scheduled the train to come through just for you all tuning in.
I love trains. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Erin.
I did just for you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that.
These guys are so nice at the railroad. They said, sure, we'll show up during your show. But yeah, so this guy, he was angry when I first started this project, and it was for a large corporate client. And very mad. And I understood why, because he had tried to give his innovative ideas to leadership, and they just were not listening. Sound familiar? Anybody out there? Yeah. Does that sound familiar for anybody? You giving your ideas to leadership, and they're like
deaf ears.
Deaf ears, right? They already gave you lip service. Oh, sure, and then nothing happens. No follow up. So I got it. And during the part of this project, because one of the things that a good continuous improvement professional will do, a leader who comes in and really starts working with culture and developing processes to support effective outcomes, right? Mm-hmm. As you work with the people who are on what we call the shop floor, the boots on the ground, you're out there with those people and you're working with them because they're the ones that live and breathe this. They're the ones that make everything happen. The shirt you wear and the chair you sit on, if it comes, they're the ones who do these things.
Yeah.
So you start there. And during the course of the project, he was a part of the project team, and he realized his ideas were heard and seen. And I saw him start to evolve from an angry, disgruntled employee into a leader. And now he is a leader. I think he's a director of total productive maintenance for another company, but I gave him those tools, and we had a lot of one-on-one offline conversations. And that's, he's one of the people who I was like, yeah, I really love doing this. So I saw him transform into somebody who's probably going to quit and just be disgruntled somewhere else, and to a leader. So that was beautiful to see. And that was before I even decided to say, I'm going to be an executive coach.
Do you approach your executive coaching similar to your project management, where you're breaking things down into, kind of a work breakdown structure, and kind of chunk it out and in a way that allows you to see different pieces of the puzzle?
Mhm. Yes, I do that for my clients for sure because it can be overwhelming, particularly if you want to make a big shift.
Yeah.
Like one of my clients who I did share her story in the book, we'll call her Mary. When she first connected with me, she was in line for a promotion. They had told her she wasn't executive material. It was not looking good.
Mm.
And she's one of those get it done people. She's not really here to be your best friend. She's here to get it done. And her team loves her, but they also see that she's under a lot of stress. And we had some opportunities. And it's up to the client to choose their own adventure. Okay. As a guide, I'm here to open the door. I'm here to give you knowledge. I'm not here to tell you what to do. That's not what coaches do. Right.
It's
This
not the
is your
purpose of coaching.
Yeah, not the purpose coaching. That's consulting or training.
Yeah.
But I do say I'm a coach consultant because there are times where I'm like, they don't have knowledge. So here's what I see. What do you want to do with this? And then it's up to them, right? Ultimately. After 6 months, she heard back that she got the promotion. And she is executive material. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Everyone needs a coach, I think. Tim is here. Shout out from Sohola, Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for he's looking forward to the dub workshop. Erin, I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a huge fan of a platform called Dub, and I teach it and I do workshops on it. And it's the process that I've used to book hundreds of interactions and book clients and book people on the pirate broadcast. And it's a simple process that I just love. And using video as I do this show, it's really impactful, and it helps you position yourself and share your message in a quick, unique way that kind of surprises people on occasion. So it's a tool in the toolbox that you can put in your arsenal of things that you can do. And I'll be in fact, I got a class this morning. I got a webinar this morning, tomorrow, and a couple next week. But I'm super excited about it, and love everybody to join in if you'd like to. I'd be more than happy to put the link up there as well.
Yeah, please do.
Michael Baker says it's a great way to start the day. Gabe says, I guess that's why the great Caesar and the Roman Empire crumbled. People didn't like working for a Roman Empire.
Probably.
Love you, Gabe. Right now, I'm trying to pivot into the field of recruitment. Interesting.
Well, Gabe, I have.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that one.
Yeah.
Michael Baker says, bringing awareness and insight to help others see things for themselves, as no one is going to change what they're not aware of or in denial of.
That's right. You can't grow what you don't know.
That's true. And you mentioned, people may not understand how other people see them.
Right.
I actually put out a poll. I reached out to a bunch of pirates and said, use 3 words to describe me. And it was an interesting thought experiment, and I got a lot of feedback, and it wasn't out of alignment with what I imagined would be an answer, but it was encouraging to think that I'm showing up in a way that people appreciate. So,
well, that's good, and that's so important. Getting that feedback and touching base, particularly with the audience and the participants that we serve. And I mean, I have my own podcast, Group Coffee Chat show. It's live on Tuesdays, 11 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Cool.
And it's also on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, just like.
We're going to have to track you down. So pirates, go track Erin down.
Yeah, if you're interested in career, all kinds of, we have, you know what, I don't know about you, Russ, but I think one of the best things about doing a live show and a podcast is the guest you meet.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love giving back, giving back to the broader community, helping people thrive in their careers and their lives. Because here's the thing, like we mentioned earlier, it's not like you shut off your personal life when you go to work, right? You're a whole human. And your career lives inside your life, not hopefully outside your life, because we have a different conversation, right? We need to talk about that, talk about some balance. But it's important to know that a lot of the tools and techniques we have used to evolve self, right?
Mm-hmm.
It applies tremendously into our careers. So if we're not focusing on our well-being, our self-development as a human, then it's likely somewhere in our career is suffering too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just got reached out to by an organization in New England to talk about the self-care strategies for leaders. I wrote a Forbes article, a Forbes contributor, and they saw your article, and we need this for our company because our leaders aren't taking care of themselves and they're working themselves into the ground, and then that's kind of cascading down.
Burnout is a real thing.
It is a real thing. I'm seeing a lot of it right now.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of burnout.
I'm not so certain that working from home has actually created more productivity in some arenas than not working from home. So
that's true. It's hard to shut it off.
Yeah.
Right. For those people who identify with being high achievers, high performers, I tend to see, and particularly in my coaching clients and my broader network, that they're working longer hours now.
Yeah.
It's hard
you
to shut it off.
You don't have to sit in traffic, so might as well just show up on your computer early, right?
Well, no, but that's what they're doing.
I'm saying that's what some people are doing, though.
That's what they're doing. That's the reality of it. Yeah. Because we're like, oh, I'm going to commute. Now I can do that exercise in the morning that I haven't been doing, or read that book in the afternoon that I haven't got to. But guess what? We start working more. Yeah. And to be fair, they feel, particularly during 2020, there was a feeling like you had to.
Yeah.
Because there's a little bit of guilt if you had a job. A lot of people didn't. There's that going on.
Well, fear too.
Survival guilt, and there was fear. Well, if I don't work myself into the ground, they might let me go. Right. So it was a lot.
If they don't see me in the office, they're not going to see me at all, and therefore they're not going to realize that I'm doing anything. And so I'm probably going to, they don't need me. So, Karen asked, send us the link. So Karen, that link is crowdcast.io/Russ Johns. You can pick a time that works for your schedule. So
and send that to me too, because I'll
I'll send it out. The reality is I've been in and out of corporate environments. I grew up in commercial construction. Project management is part of
So you're familiar. We have very similar background,
And working in and out of technology, running big projects and engineers and teams. All of these things that you're talking about are just I could picture some of these things that are taking place all the time. So I really appreciate someone like yourself stepping up and stepping into a coaching role that can help guide individuals to a new future.
Yes.
I think it's important. So thank you so much for doing this, Erin.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
You bet. Gabe says the other thing I'm trying to pivot myself into is I dream of becoming a dictator of a small country. Can Erin coach me to become an effective leader as a dictator?
Absolutely. We can do dictatorship. That's how I used to do my project management. So I know all about that. I have a pivot point, a wake up call.
Like I said, I love you, Gabe. You're awesome. Help Mongoose. Russ, hello. If you need real free high quality. Oh yeah, I do. I need high quality streamers.
So, because we're using it. Thanks.
If I could read faster, I could probably catch those spam filters.
That's all right.
But Erin, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. And how do people connect? How do you appreciate people connecting with you?
Reach out to coacheurban.com. So that's Coach, first initial, last name, Coach E. Urban, URBAN, as in Urban Cowboy.com. I have a free Pathfinder that's right there on my homepage. You can find out all about me. I've got tons of resources. If anything, career mindset, you're looking for a career move, tons of resources on my blog and on my website. I also have a podcast, Career Coffee Chat Show, that's live, and of course on all the major channels. So that's available to you as well. And my book.
Fantastic.
Which, by the way, is discounted for the fall. for Kindle.
Are you on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Mm-hmm.
So I stream to Amazon too, and I talk to authors about their books too. So just saying.
Just saying. All right, we'll have to come back, talk all about it.
And if you need a guest on your show, let me know. So
yeah, I'd love to have you on, Russ. That would be fun.
It'd be a great conversation.
Yeah, I think it will be.
So everyone, thank you so much for being here. Follow Erin. Tell her you're a pirate. You're coming from the pirate community. I suspect she's on LinkedIn as well. So, just saying. So
just every day.
Yeah. And so join up, follow, like, comment, and all the shenanigans that go on with social media. And thank you so much for being here. Because Erin, you know what? Kindness is cool. Smiles are free. So you enjoy the day, everyone. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate.